Joining me now is author and political commentator Shamika Michelle.
When God looked at man, he said it's not good for man to be alone. He gave him a woman. He didn't give him a village. He didn't give him the community. He said, be fruitful and multiply to this man and this woman. So it's supposed to be God, husband, wife.
If you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always done.
Hello, and happy Wednesday. Somewhere I did something twice. There we go. Welcome to Shaking My Head with Shamika Michelle. You probably cannot hear me because I don't have my mic plugged up. Give me 1 second because I'm so fired up today, and you'll see why in just a minute. Microphone check 1 2 1 2. Can y'all hear me now? Hello, Alicia. Hello to everyone joining me for Safe Spaces for Words, but not for women and children. This is Shaking My Head with Shamika Michelle because the words safe spaces leave me shaking my head. As you know, we've been doing this war on words because I'm here to expose the lies hiding in plain sight. Because when the words change, the truth dies. So last week and this week, we've been coming against these words and phrases and actually removing the mask to reveal the truth. And it's been a great time. I appreciate you all tuning in. Today, we are tackling the words safe space. I personally think it's some BS. Not simply by itself, but because we have began to put so much focus on taking care of feelings that we're missing the bigger picture. Hello, Asino. Drag Queen story time for your kids and grandkids. Hello, Miguel. Hola. We began to put so much focus on feelings. We want our feelings to be safe. We don't want to be judged. We don't want to be criticized. And we can look around and see exactly what that has been doing to families, communities, societies, and the country. We can see exactly what has happened when we began to do things like put feelings over facts instead of the other way around. When we began to allow people to say my truth. We're getting away from the truth, and we are not valuing lives. But before I get into the discussion today, again, you know this is Shamika's Schoolhouse Rock. Before I get into today's discussion, I'm going to play you this video that I came across that I absolutely love. 1 second here. I played it for my best friend and she actually loved it. And I shared it to my Instagram. And surprisingly, or not surprisingly, most of my followers actually have common sense. But people agreed. I only saw the pushback on X, which really irritated me. So I'm going to play this video for you. And this is going to kick off our safe spaces. Let me warn you, you're not safe here. Not today. This is the warning. If you clicked on this thinking you were going to be safe, it's not what society has made you think a safe space was. This is a war on words, and we are coming hard today. So if you thought you were going to come here and nestle up in your blanket and be comfortable and not be judged, you're in the wrong place today. I got a little more sleep. I have a little more energy. And this video and the pushback that I saw from some people got me a little bit fired up. So it's not a safe space on today. But let's go. Let's hit this video from the top. It's about 6 minutes. I'm going to play the entire thing, and then I'm going to respond, and then we're going to do what we always do, get into some definitions and statistics, some facts over feelings. Okay, let's go.
White people are every single bit justified in being racist. Every single bit justified, to the extent that that means going out of your way to avoid black people when you see them. Every bit justified. And you want to know why? Because we see what happens. And nobody is under any obligation due to liberal ideology to put themselves in harm's way. If you're a white person and you're going to work or going to the ball game or going to the city at night, you don't want to enter into the terror dome where you're suddenly in a sudden death match. You're like in the gulag in Call of Duty fighting for your life all of a sudden because you got on the wrong train car. Because a car full of black people pulled up on you by the bus stop. You turn and you walk the other way. You avoid their neighborhoods. You avoid going out on Memorial Day or Labor Day weekend at night in certain places. When you see them, you start walking in the other direction. And we are every bit justified because we see what's going on and we don't want to die. It's that simple. That's pattern recognition. That's not racism. That's pattern recognition. That's one. And two, I really hope, because I'm rooting for black people, like I'm rooting for humanity. I'm rooting for everybody to be safe and to be healthy and to be happy. I really hope that somewhere out there, although I'm not optimistic, black people are starting to develop some sense of self-awareness. Where's the shame? Aren't you people ashamed? When I see these clips of the graduation ceremonies where they're twerking on stage and dancing, when I see these videos of the black cheerleaders on the basketball court brawling it out, when I see the Carmelo Anthony, and not only that, but then they raise $500,000 for him and then they get a public defender. When I see that video of a black security guard rifling through the pockets of an unconscious white guy that got his ass kicked, and the list goes on and on and on. You have to ask the black people that are normally so proud, and with the chip on their shoulder, aren't you ashamed? Are you not ashamed when you see these things? Are there any black people that see this and have the slightest lick of self-awareness, of common sense, of decency to say, are you not ashamed to see these scenes play out over and over again? Where's the accountability? And this is where that word fatigue comes in. We're just tired of seeing it. You see these clips and you know every race of person, maybe except for most blacks, white, Chinese, Indian, Hispanic, and even liberals see these clips and they say, are you surprised? They shake their heads. They say, yep. Usual suspects. They say, yep, that's about right. Are you not ashamed? And when are black people going to turn that around? I'm so sick of, and I think all of society is sick of, hearing about all these excuses. And even the conservative blacks will give them, like Jason Whitlock is a perfect example. When I gave a similar monologue about Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony, Jason Whitlock, who's a black conservative at the Blaze, said that this is a demonic sentiment. He said the problem is a lack of Christianity or something or other. The problem is a lack of accountability. And I think a lot of black people hide behind these various things, whether it's the liberals that say it's slavery and racism, or it's the conservatives, and they blame it on welfare, hip hop, or the Great Society. It starts with you. It starts with every individual Black person making choices like we all do. Who's raising these fucking people? Who's raising these people? So they're Black people. It's baby mamas and baby daddies. I mean, who's perpetuating this? And who does it benefit to make these excuses and to say it's everybody else? So I see this stuff and look, yeah, we are going to call it out. We, the Americans, we the white people of America, we the peaceful, law-abiding, tax-paying people of America are saying, hey, Blacks, get your shit together. Get your fucking shit together. We are fucking tired of you. We are tired of seeing this stuff. It always seems to be you. Do you know that, and I'm just expressing what is a common sentiment. Do you know that everybody thinks that if we snapped our fingers and you all disappeared tomorrow, everybody thinks our quality of life would go up? Do you realize that? I'm just saying it. Everyone's thinking it. When we think of what's wrong with Chicago, it's like utopia. Chicago is like a utopia. Beautiful riverfront, beautiful lakefront, concerts in the park, ball games in the park, beautiful architecture, the best food. You know what the one problem is with Chicago that's driving the businesses out of the Magnificent Mile? You know what the one problem is that's making the public transit unusable? You know what the one problem is that's driving richer residents from the city? It's the crime. It's the chaos. It's the violence. And you know what demographic is almost exclusively responsible for it? It's you. It's Black people. Everyone's thinking that. Everyone's fucking sick of it.
Woo! Woo! I could actually listen to that over and over and over again. And as I warned you before you came in, this isn't a safe space. This isn't a safe space because I heard a lot of facts in that, right? So if you're here and you're thinking, I'm getting ready to say, oh my God, how dare he, this white man, say all of these things about Black people. I'm Black. I'm Black first. I'm Black over everything. You're wrong. I told you this isn't a safe space. And this episode is titled Safe Spaces for Words, but Not for Women and Children. And so when I listened to this, I started thinking, he's absolutely right. Because what we should be focusing on are real safe spaces. And when I leave my house, my thought is not, oh my God, some white police officer is going to roll up on me and take my life. Or I'm going to go to the mall at the streets of South Point and some white person may rob me, rape and rob me. Most of the circles I run in are predominantly Black. So if I go to grab my book bag, it's only Black people around. And I'm grabbing my book bag because of the things that he talked about in his video. We are not safe. And so instead of worrying about people's feelings, we need to start doing something about behavior. The behavior that's driving up crime. The behavior that's producing children that don't know how to act. That's growing up into teenagers that don't know how to act. That's becoming adults in society that don't know how to act. Those are the true safe spaces that we need to be focused on. Nobody's worrying about y'all feelings. The facts are the true safe spaces are not safe anymore. People get upset with the whole Make America Great Again. I told y'all a couple of weeks ago, when I think about when America was great, because that's what people love to say, oh, when was America great? America was great when I could walk into my neighbor's home, or we could get on the highway and drive 2 hours to my aunt's house and the door would be unlocked. There was no lock and deadbolts with a camera watching the outside of the house with alarm systems. You know why? Because niggas weren't running rampant the way they are now. That's when America was great. When I could go to my neighbor's house, walk right in, and go get an ice cream sandwich out the freezer, and I wasn't stealing. It was open because it was safe. Those were true safe spaces. When I could walk home from school and not have to worry about being shot, or I could play outside and not have to worry about being shot. That was a safe space. Homicide is the leading cause of death in Black men, 1 to, I think, 35. So generally, being around a bunch of us with the same skin color is not safe. You can't even go to a high school football game full of Black people and not have a fight break out. Not be worried about somebody shooting. They're telling you you can't bring your bags, or you have to bring just a clear bag. So while we like to sit around and act as if, oh, I see white people, we're dying predominantly at the hands of the people that look like us. And please do not tell me, well, violence is interracial. You get harmed or killed by the people you're around the most. I understand that. But what I also understand, because I didn't ride the short bus to school, is that we are killing each other at a higher rate than whites are killing other whites, than Asians are killing other Asians, than Hispanics are killing other Hispanics. We are killing each other at a greater rate. So while we like to sit online and act as if we're so afraid of the whites, that just isn't what's real. That's not what's real. So y'all sit online and say things like, oh, Karen told me my hair looked nice. Or Karen said, how do I get my hair in that style? That's a microaggression. Well, tell me what type of aggression it is when Tyrone keeps shooting down little fat draws in the hood. What type of aggression is that? What type of aggression do we need for you parents to get out here and go to these schools and not in your pajama pants and your bonnets and do-rags, but actually going looking professional, like you care about the fact that your children can't read and do math? What type of aggression do we need for that? What type of aggression do we need to display for y'all to close your legs and stop having baby after baby after baby after baby that you can't take care of and that you truly don't want? What type of aggression do we need for that? So pardon me if I don't care about your little feelings and making you comfortable coming to school feeling like or dressed like a dog or a cat, calling yourself a furry. Pardon me if I'm not concerned about your feelings and making sure you're safe being a boy dressed like a girl. and making sure you feel okay about that. Pardon me if I want to let you know there is no reason for tampons to be in a boy's bathroom because you won't use them. Never have, never will. Pardon me if I tell this fat woman, you may want to put your fork down and push away from the table. I don't care about your feelings. Heart disease is the #1 cause in women, and obesity and being overweight contributes to that. Pardon me if I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about true, safe spaces, my well-being, my physical body, whether I can go outside my house and not have to worry about being hit over the head. Because Tyreek ain't got something that he wants and he thinks that I have it to give it to him. Pardon me if I'm more concerned about that. When my children leave the house, I am more concerned about LaQuanda being jealous than I am about Sally. I'm more concerned that LaQuanda is going to want to pop off over Daquan than I'm more concerned about Lil Karen being upset over Chad. And I watch Snap, but I also watch For My Man and Fatal Attraction, and those are the ones I'm around the most. So when I hear this young man, I'm not upset. What I'm more upset about is that some 20-year-old, I think he's 27, he's not 30 yet, some less than 30-year-old white man has to tell us what's really real, because as he said, when are we going to be ashamed? Because we're always offended, never ashamed. When are we going to say, I don't want somebody else pointing out what's going on, what I can see with my own eyes? I'm not going to be offended. Instead of being offended, I'm going to be ashamed. And I'm going to suck it up and say, it hurts, but it's real. It's the truth, not my truth. Because my truth says nobody should ever say anything bad about Black people. My truth says that Black people built the White House. And if it wasn't for Black people, our country wouldn't be here. Well, the truth is, y'all ain't done shit since they stopped cracking the whip. God, I told y'all, this wasn't a safe space. It's a shame that in order to get you to do something, they got to bring dogs out behind you. Y'all love to sit online talking about what our ancestors did. Where are the Black banks now? Where are all the Black hospitals? All this Black excellence that we talk about? All this Black excellence that we talk about, where's the fruit? So while you want to sit around and not be judged and not be criticized, I told you before, here we are fruit inspectors. So where's the fruit? Everything came from Black people. We did country. We did the telephone. We did this. We did that. Can we see something today? Can we see you doing something great today without whips and chains being the reason why you're doing it? Without a German shepherd barking up behind you being your motivation? Can we see you do something today? Because y'all been riding on the back of ancestors for a long time. And because of the foundation that they laid, we should be a lot further than what we are now. We should be evolving, not going back. And then you all like to have excuses and say, it's the poverty. Do you know my great-grandfather lived in poverty, but he ain't go out here and crack a brick up against somebody's head because he was poor, because he was angry, because somebody stepped on his shoes. And I'm pretty sure he had a much harder time getting shoes than y'all do today. They didn't have 50 pair of name brand shoes in the closet, 100 pair of name brand shoes in the closet. They actually worked for something. And it was a struggle. They would have a good pair of shoes, and those shoes would have to last them. And guess what? When somebody stepped on their toe, or when the shoes were damaged, they didn't feel like, let me go get my shotgun and shoot them up. They actually lived through real disrespect. Having to walk miles to a bathroom, having to walk all the way around a building to use the water fountain. But y'all sit here and whine over somebody saying something about your hair. That is not real discrimination or racism. Y'all whine about bullshit and then talk about safe spaces. We need to be focused on the real safe spaces, not your little feelings. Y'all are wanting to make places nice and safe and comfy and happy and hopeful for your feelings when people are dying in the streets. Because what used to be real safe spaces are no longer. I'm seeing people whine about Trump wanting to take over the crime in DC and now talking about Chicago. Oh, we don't want you here. Why? Every time I turn around, y'all losing dozens of people in a weekend. You bend over and twerk your behind for everything else. Bend over and twerk your behind and get some help in the city. Start clapping them cheeks for that. Give the people that need to come in and clean up the city something to look at. Because you bend over for less. I've seen you bend over and clap your cheeks for less. But instead of actually coming to reality and facing the hard truth, the truth, you want to keep lying. You want to keep pretending like this isn't real while murder rates go up, crime rates go up. I said we were going to talk about definitions. The Pope, hello. Everybody here, hello to you today. Safe. The definition of safe means protected from or not exposed to danger or risk, not likely to be harmed or lost. With homicide being the leading cause of death of Black men, tell me how they're safe. Death by other Black men, not the 15 that may be killed in a year by white police officers. I'm talking about the numbers being killed by other Black men. They aren't safe in their own communities with their own people. They aren't protected from or not exposed to danger or risk. It says not likely to be harmed or lost. That's real safe. That's what really being safe is. A space, a continuous area or expanse which is free, available, or unoccupied. So a real safe space is free from risk, or where risk is not likely. But when you go and look up the definition of safe space, this is a war on words. This is some liberal ideology, some BS. A safe space is a place or environment in which a person or category of people can feel confident that they will not be exposed to discrimination, criticism, harassment, or any other emotional or physical harm, allowing individuals to express themselves freely and be their authentic selves without fear of judgment. Some BS, because you know a tree by the fruit it bears. And then these same people that don't want you to be critical of them, that don't want to be redirected or corrected, will also tell you silence is violence. Another BS term that we began to say that's foolishness. Silence is violence. It literally isn't. It literally is not violence, but we say that. All the silence is violence. So you don't want me to be silent, but you don't want me to criticize you either. Or it's okay to talk, but just not what you don't want to hear. And that's what many of us have bought into. Oh, it's okay to talk. Just don't say anything that I don't want to hear, that may hurt my feelings, that may make me feel uncomfortable, that may cause me to have to stand up and be responsible and accountable. I don't want to hear any of that. Don't tell me that instead of running out here and just dropping it low and spread it wide, that I should marry before I carry. Don't say that to me. Because just because I get married first, it doesn't really mean that we're going to stay together. So I might still end up being more excuses than a nigga going to jail, to not at least try to do the right thing first. Do things fall apart? Yes. But you should at least try to do the right thing first. You should always try to do the right thing, because you never can have control over how someone responds to you or how someone else is, but you can always control yourself. So you should always try to do the right thing. The cultural irony here is that trigger warnings, microaggressions, and verbal safety dominate conversations, while physical safety deteriorates. We see the way jail is a revolving door. They're arguing about sending criminal, illegal aliens back to where they came from. And I shouldn't even say criminal illegal aliens, because once you've come here illegally, you've already committed a crime. And see, I'm not one of these people that will sit here and say, oh, well, the white man came here illegally. I'm one of these people that feel like, okay, the natives lost the war. They lost. This is here we are. This is what it is. Now we have some laws in place and people need to follow them. And the same way Tyrone and Lil Fat Draws go to jail when they break a law, Julio and Paco, they need to go to jail when they break a law as well. I don't care how much tequila you bring, how many tacos you make, the same way Tyrone and Lil Fat Draws go to jail. I need Jose to be locked up too, just for coming here the wrong way. Because that makes my space unsafe. We have soft on crime policies, bail reform, light sentencing, and refusal to prosecute certain crimes. Now, I don't have an issue if you're jaywalking or speeding. I don't think you should go to jail for those things. But when you hurt someone or damage someone's property, I believe you should go to jail. You should pay for those crimes. And we're watching people rape children and get away with it. Where's the safe space for these children? While we're trying to make sure a man in a dress feels safe, where's the safe space for the children who are getting abused, raped? Where's their safe space? Real consequences are women are afraid to walk alone. Elderly are being attacked. I just watched a video from, I think it was Jamal Green, saying elderly are being attacked in front of their elderly homes, the senior communities. So we have women, elderly, and children unsafe in their own neighborhoods. While we're sitting here worried about whether or not this boy with some extra floating devices or an extra floating device should be in the pool competing with girls. While the elderly are being shot outside of their retirement communities. Because these children you're raising that need all of these soft, cushy, comfortable spaces don't know how to act. They don't respect you and they don't respect authority once they leave your home. Nearly 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men in the U.S. have experienced intimate partner violence in their lifetime. That's not a safe space. So I'm here to say what we have created, what we've made, what we've began to push as safe spaces is not real safe spaces. It's a distraction from the real safe spaces that we need to be paying attention to. Children exposed to domestic violence are more likely to suffer emotional and behavioral problems, with an estimated 15 million children exposed each year. Domestic violence accounts for 15% of all violent crimes in the U.S. Let's go to homicide. Nearly 3/4 of women murdered in the U.S. are killed by a current or former intimate partner. The presence of a gun in a domestic violence situation increases the risk of homicide by 500%. We should be focused on stats, not safe spaces, not the BS that y'all are pushing as safe spaces. When homicide is what it is, and we sit online and worry about feelings, we're in the wrong fight. When we're worrying about whether or not someone can put on some antlers and identify as something else, we're in the wrong fight. And it sounds really harsh for someone to say, if we just could snap our fingers and Black people would be gone, things would be better. It sounds real harsh, but what it should do, instead of making us get mad and say, oh, you're racist. Oh, the white man, the white man, the white man. If you aren't busy focusing on being a better parent or a better mentor, a better leader in your community, it should make you want to do that. You know who I love watching? King Randall, who runs the X School for Boys, not even 30 years old, and has a school for boys. He's actually doing something to turn it around, to turn what we see around. And people will say, you know, well, Shamika, what are you doing on a daily basis? Running my mouth. Let me be honest, because I'm up in age. I have done what I was going to do in my community. Now it's time for me to rest and pass the baton. Figuratively and literally, pass the baton. I've worked for free with girls for years. 20-something years at least. People can tell you my house was full of young girls all the time. Being a mentor, being that example. I had daughters, so it was easy, but I poured into these young girls that went on to go to college. Some of them are married, actually doing something with their lives. So when you hear statistics that show we're on a downward spiral, something should make you want to do something about it. There are a lot of things that I've done in my life that I made sure when it came to raising my 3 daughters and mentoring all of these other young women, that I taught them differently. Whether it was working in the church, working in schools, working, because at the time, I was not a single mom. So working with other mothers who were single parents that needed somewhere for their children to go. My house was a real safe space, but not so they couldn't be criticized and so I could worry about their feelings. I mean, safe as in physically, nobody was going to harm them there, and they were going to hear the truth. Ask any of them. Sometimes you see them under my post. You were like a mother to me. I was. And for some, when their own mama was out doing who knows what with who knows who, I was actually focused on being an example and being a mentor and raising decent human beings who weren't full of excuses. And they can tell you, I never cared about their feelings. Not to that degree. It wasn't a place for them to just not be criticized. Can you believe that's actually in a definition of safe space? To not be exposed to criticism? Think about yourself. It was the constructive criticism that probably corrected you many times in many areas that produced the person you are today. And now they don't want to be criticized. Well, I mean, if you say something, you need to say it like that. No, I'm going to say it just how I say it. If you want to woo, 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 go somewhere else. I'm going to say it exactly how I say it. And if you want to hear it a different way, go somewhere else. Because I don't care about your feelings. I care about the fact that people are going outside of their homes being shot, killed, raped, robbed. Because I've yet to have my Beverly Hillbilly experience where I can just pack up and move away from here. I ain't been able to load up the truck and move to Beverly. I ain't been able to do that. And now California is on such a downward spiral. Who would want to? But I'm still right here, right in my community. And you know I'm Black because I just heard, again, my smoke detector just went off. Just a couple weeks ago, another one started beeping. I just heard a beep. My daughter, I just heard her close the door like, uh-oh, let me close the door. Something just beeped. I don't know how many we have here, but maybe I should change the battery all at the same time. So there's one that'll go off, and then a month later, it seems like something else starts to beep. Sharice's, y'all are having your own conversations in here. Let's see what we have here. What's going on? Black on Black violence is white on Black violence perpetrated. That might go over heads. It did. Lotus Flower 732, if you're still here, because I went back kind of far. Instead of it going over our heads, break it down. How is Black on Black violence white people fault? In 2025, I need you to tell me why when Lil Tyrone, somebody steps on his shoe, how is a white man or a white person responsible when he decides, when Lil Tyrone decides, Lil Fat Draws stepped on my shoe, I'm going to kill him. Lil Fat Draws disrespected my hood, I'm going to kill him. Lil Fat Draws is representing the wrong colors, I'm going to kill him. Because you say we got to go deeper than that. Let's go deeper. This is the time. I'm sincerely asking. And if we need to table it and have you come on here and explain to me why this is the white man's fault, I am open to listen. But my granddaddy, not even going back as far as my granddaddy, suffered hard times. Outside of whatever he did with the U.S. military, he wasn't taking lives because of it. Alicia said, what is going on with Black America has a lot to do with a lack of Christianity. Following the beliefs taught through the Bible is what keeps most people behaving in a way that is acceptable. And I do think that's a factor. I do feel like the more godless, a people are, or people or person, that's going to become an issue. Playing devil's advocate, though, what about the people that may be white and don't believe, are atheists, but they still know how to conduct themselves in a civilized manner? Because I know some. Or that may, just let's go with that. What about those? Destiny Lees, why have you ran for Congress? Why have I or haven't I? Thomas Bailey, thank you for being here. All this damn BLM horse shit and cashless bail. Revolving door. And then, I have this, I see a lot of people go to jail for BS. Like we over police the wrong things. When I watched Bevelyn Williams get sentenced for blocking an abortion clinic, I said, what are we doing? What are we doing? A married mother protesting outside of an abortion clinic, getting time? Getting time? And I'm seeing people around here carjacked, and the jail is like a revolving door. What are we doing? There is no way Bevelyn should have ever spent a day behind bars. Why? Because you know why they put her behind bars? Because for that moment, it wasn't a safe space. She was criticizing the women going in for their abortions. And Bevelyn, I'm sure, as I know Bevelyn, she wasn't even criticizing, but she probably was speaking scripture and they didn't like it. Because people don't want to be criticized or feel judged or feel misdirected or corrected. So they locked her up, gave her time. And if it wasn't, listen, when I was telling people, I have a few reasons that I'm voting for Trump. When it came down to Trump versus Kamala, Bevelyn was one of those people, because Kamala would have left her locked up. Miss I'm Black and wash my collard greens in the tub would have left Bevelyn locked up. I have no doubt in my mind. Miguel says churchianity isn't the answer. We're to get into our Bibles and follow the word. Keep your family together and not follow this world because its time is short. Lotus Flower says America ain't never been great for Black folks. This is a delusional mindset. You speaking surface level, sis. I'm speaking reality. And the reason why a lot of people are so unproductive today is because you stuck in a time you didn't even live in. I'm speaking from 1975. When I came out of my mother's vagina. 1975, born to a mother that was 15, a product of rape. So where I am or am not today in 2025 has nothing to do with the white person that told my grandma, I don't want a Black nurse to take care of me. I'm talking about today. So if it's surface, take me deep. But don't take me so deep that I'm sitting around talking about being oppressed and being a victim and being depressed and feeling like I can't do nothing and I can't be productive. If that's as deep as I want to go, I don't want to go that deep. Because I remember a time when life was good. I just told y'all. Thomas Bailey, Shamika spitting facts, especially in Durham, North Carolina, and a lot of cities. Ooh. Nobody rocks hoops like Shamika Michelle. Thank you. I love my little hoops. This is yarn and jean material. At youth, especially poor youth, we become very materialistic and seek wealth and material things. We are so materialistic as society as a whole. But I look at these kids, sometimes I work in the high school up until, working there every day consistently until 2012, maybe 2011, 2012, something around in there. I was at the high school every day. And then, of course, having children in high school, I was there even when they were in high school, volunteering and doing what I could to help, feeding the kids, whatever. And I would see the kids come to school and say to myself, I wouldn't have survived. If I had to get a lace front wig, eyelashes, Gucci, and all of that in order to come to school, I wouldn't have made it. The way the soles would flap off my K-Swiss, and I would still go to school thinking I was the best thing since sliced bread, I wouldn't have made it. Like, they are so materialistic, but I know it comes from home. Because I wasn't sending my kids to school in wigs and all this weave down the behind and needing the freshest Jordans. My kids weren't into that. And they went and did very well in school. They weren't bullied. They did well. Exceptional students coming out with 4.3 and 4.4 GPA, going into college free. It's completely paid for. And thank goodness I didn't have to spend a lot of money for them to do it. You do realize every time we built, they burnt it down. Can you get loans like white folks? We have billionaires now. We have billionaires, and we can get loans if you have good credit. It may not be like a white folk. I don't know. What are their loans like? I do, however, know that right around the corner is my marital home. With 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, movie theater. When we separated, we had 2 Mercedes and an Escalade in the driveway. He has continued to build. There were 2 cars around here in Durham. Only 2 people had them. Him and one other black man. And we always talk about how they burned it down. We never talk about how they restored and built it up. Even after it was burned down. So then we still have to ask ourselves, why aren't we building now? If they could face having what they built burned to the ground and then rebuild it, what's our excuse now? With the LeBrons and the Beyoncés and the Kanyes and the 50 Cents. And this is just entertainers. What's our excuse now? Instead of whining about Aunt Jemima being on the pancake box, why didn't we create our own pancake company? But when Terrence Williams did, a black man who used to be an orphan, when he created his own pancakes, people sat around and called him a coon. Well, you just whined about this black woman on the pancake box. Let's get her off. But instead of that, why didn't we just build our own? Is the white man keeping us from at least trying? Because Terrence seems to be doing, he's doing pretty good. But what he doesn't have is a whole bunch of black people rallying around like, yeah, let's make Cousin T's as big as Aunt Jemima was. He don't have that. And we like to gather, and I'm sorry, it's 3:03, I gotta go, but we like to gather and say what we gonna do. What we gonna do. I know for a fact we've been waiting on Dr. Umar to build a school for like 15 years. Maybe 15 may be a stretch, but I put money on 10. School ain't here yet. And I'm so glad people like King Randall didn't worry about whether or not white people was going to come and burn his school down. He built it anyway. He's mentoring young boys anyway. I'm so glad that Kewan Hester of Favor Desserts didn't worry about whether or not somebody was going to come and burn his bakery down. He baked cakes and built a bakery anyway. Yolanda Reed didn't worry about whether or not somebody was going to come and burn down her daycare. She built her daycare anyway, 20 years plus in the game. People still build stuff. And they don't use excuses of what the white man may or may not do to stop them. And Lotus Flower, you know I love you. But I feel like you're really up here on some bullshit, making excuses. And excuses have gotten us nowhere. We literally sit and whine all day about white people on white platforms, instead of trying to use it to get ahead. And you remember when was it the church thing, the church platform? People joined. They didn't come. And the equipment or how you got on and moved about was so antiquated. Why is it that we like to sit around and talk about what our ancestors did like they were superhuman, but then they birthed generations of people that now sit and whine and say, well, we can't take standardized tests. Those little black boys and little girls can't do the same things. What happened? How we come from superheroes, superhumans, to now thinking these little bastards can't go in school, sit down and shut up and do what they're supposed to do. They had way more reasons to sit down and roll over 50, 60, 70 years ago, and they didn't. Why do we have so many excuses today? I don't want to hear no pseudo-psycho babble bullshit. Why do we have so many excuses today? My grandma went to school to become a nurse. My grandmother is 91 years old. She lived through not being able to use the same restroom. She lived through not being able to drink from the same water fountain. Why do we have more excuses now than they had then? And we use them for our excuses. We use what they went through for our excuses when we ain't faced shit. I go out and I vote. There's no dogs. Nobody beating me for exercising my right to vote. I actually got to go to school and nobody was spitting on me as I walked through the crowd into the building, because this is what our ancestors had to go through. When they were bused into schools where people didn't want them there, they were spit on. And they wanted to get there. They dealt with being spit on, called out their name, pushed and shoved, still went, sat down in school and learned what they needed to learn to get where they needed to go. Now these little bastards standing around with their pants around their knees, smoking on the corner, not even going to school. Now school is free. You ain't even got to deal with the same shit, and now you don't want to go. Why do we have all of these excuses today that they didn't have then? Know how many times they came home crying? Somebody then threw pencils at them during the day. And now we sitting around with our kids hanging at the store instead of going into school, and we still making the same shit ass excuses. So how deep do we need to go? And I know I sound harsh, but I'm tired of the excuses. I'm sick of seeing a people that I understand are very capable of doing more, not do more. My great-grandma, my grandma, my mother, they didn't fight through what they fought through so I could have excuses. One day when I have grandchildren, I'm telling you, if I hear them mumble an excuse, talking about something that I went through, and I know I didn't go through a thing, but let's just hypothetically say, I will snatch every tooth out their mouth one by one. If I see them sitting around giving excuses of something they didn't live through, because I expect them to be better. My children who never went to school with the sole of their K-Swiss flapping off of their shoe, they better have come out of school with a 4.3 or a 4.4 GPA. You damn Skippy, you better have. Because you ain't have to sit in a hot classroom like I did with no air conditioning, or worry about getting too close to the radiator, the heat that heated the classrooms. You better have came out of school with a high GPA and went to college, and I not had to come out my pocket for nothing. You better have. When you got a phone right here, ain't nobody slamming no encyclopedia beside you saying, why'd you wait till the last minute? Or waiting on the encyclopedia man to come around. You better have did better than I did. And so my grandchildren better do better than they did. So why us, as somebody's grandkids, are we still sitting around whining about what happened to our great-grandparents? We are in a better place, and we should be doing better and expecting the next generation and generations to do better than us. But instead of that, we're sitting around whining. Please tell me when you want to come on. I promise you, I won't yell as much as I'm yelling now. I'm sorry. I love you. You know that I love you. But this stuff really gets under my skin. I don't do the whole safe spaces stuff. I don't care about people's feelings. Let's get to the facts. And if you got some facts that will help me to help other people be better and do better and succeed, be accomplished, give them to me. I'm all ears. I'm all ears. Emmett Till won't save. Okay, we ain't talking about Emmett Till. Emmett Till wasn't safe. But ain't nobody been hanged in like this whole Emmett Till bill. Nobody been hanged in like 50 years. And we can focus on Emmett Till. But you know who lived to a ripe old age? The woman who admitted she lied. Meanwhile, there's a little fat draws times 100 being killed in communities every day. We need to focus on the real safe spaces. The 4 little girls, they weren't safe. You're right. Black Wall Street wasn't safe. But do you know here in Durham, and you do know, you've been here, I can go on. America ain't never been safe. You were safe. And if you weren't safe, name the white people that made you unsafe. I would put money that it's been black people to harm you way more than it's been whites. And I don't even got money like that. I'm gonna be coming up here saying, y'all give me some super chats. Lotus Flower proved me it was more white people that hurt her than blacks. Can y'all help me pay this debt? But I'm willing to bet it's been more blacks to actually hurt and harm you. I gotta go, y'all. Sharisa says not killed, unalive. Yeah, and that's another thing. This whole unalive thing, that's another word we try to make sound soft and nice and sweet. They were unalive. They were killed. Homicide is the leading cause of death because black men are being killed by other black men. Not because they're being unalived. Oh, God. I'm sorry, y'all. There's a whole slew of comments here that I will never get to see. Maybe I can go back. Why do black people get so mad when being called a nigger or nigger? Whatever happened to you, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. The safe spaces, Sharisa. Nobody wants their feelings hurt. You know how many days I was called an African black booty scratcher? And I still had to go to school and sit in my seat and do what I was supposed to. Now they all, you better not say that to me again. You better not. If you do. Every time I turn around, it's a video of somebody getting upset. But you listen to it every day in rap. But the moment somebody else say it, all of a sudden, life ain't no crystal staff. It's had tacks in it and boards and places torn up. But all the time I've been a climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. Jambalaya Talks. Hey, sis. Black folks don't even create safe spaces for other black folks. Absolutely. I stay in the house so many times because it's where are we going? What's the crowd? If they're too young, I'll pass. Certain areas, no thank you. I'm not going. I didn't have to live in that time. Intergenerational and generational trauma is real. That you believe in my truth too, don't you? Do you say my truth? The fact that we can't see is why we still here. Where are we? Life is good for me. I'm sitting at home. I'm in a decent place. Computer is nice. I get to stay home. My child is 20. I'm still at the house pouring into her. Where are we? Because you speaking French and life is fine for me. For most black people, I know life is good. And if it's not good, it's self-inflicted not goodness. Self-inflicted. I know I keep saying I'm about to go. Why is only intergenerational trauma real, but intergenerational triumph and success is not? Niggas always have a BS mumbo jumbo gumbo excuse. And on that, we getting ready to go. I'm going to go. I hate to leave because there's so much to say. But I don't want to hold y'all too long. Sharisa Jones, Miguel, I apologize for your circumstances. However, they were far from mine. So just because you and others didn't experience it didn't mean it didn't happen. I missed that. Again, you can't be serious. Who can't be? Built what up? A whole city of Black entrepreneurs. Sis, bring me on. When do you want to come on? When you want to come? We'll do a whole panel. I'm open. Somebody was just saying they want me to bring more guests. I said I was gonna do a all men's week next week. I will push that off. What day you want to do? And I'm flying to New York on Friday, but I will get something together for Shizzy, my nizzy. Play too much. Oh God, I know that I do. I play too much. So I ain't got no friends. I only got 2. But I only got 2. Misty, I guess it's about your deliverance. It's a little argumentative. Yeah, I don't. Maybe y'all are arguing in the chat. I don't know. Again, Misty. Oh, she said, bye, me. Talk soon. Well, how you gonna come on? Maybe it's because it was late. Maybe it's because it's late. She done told Thomas to kiss her yellow ass. Yeah, yellow is a variation of color, Thomas. We'll talk soon. Sharisa is letting y'all know. See you fellow head shakers tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow will be Sharisa says part 2 tomorrow. We might could do a you got to get the poison out first. What's the poison? I swear to God, y'all. I don't know if it can be helped. I don't. What's the poison? What is the poison? Let's talk logical. What is the poison? I'm gonna tell you what I think it is. Lotus flower. I ain't gonna tell you today. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that. She said she's gonna let me know. Okay. It's delayed. Okay. I love y'all. Thank y'all for joining. Again, this has been a wonderful 2 weeks of our war on words. Tomorrow we're going to do a little short wrap up because I have to prepare for getting to New York. Friday is a reminder. We won't be here on Friday. I want to do the all men's week next week, but again, if Lotus Flower has a day that works best for her, we may just take a break from the men's week. We'll figure it out. But anyway, join me here tomorrow, same time, same space, because the battle continues. We got to fight on. Y'all see what we're fighting against. Please don't leave your girl hanging. But I'm going to keep fighting anyway. I stand here and fight on anyhow. Y'all remember that? We are soldiers in the army. We got to fight, although we have to die. We gotta hold up the bloodstained banner. We gotta hold them up until we die. Peace.